Welcome, Middle Georgia Dawgpound, to the National Champions edition of the Middle Georgia Dawgpound Live. Mr. Matt, Four Finger Wonder, Kevin, I'm your host, Bryan. Glad to be here, guys. Super excited about this show for one reason and one reason only. We got it, baby. We got it.
Yes,
Go
sir. Go Dogs.
So guys, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Housekeeping tidbits here, guys. I want to make sure that I tell all of our folks out there, if this is your first time on the Middle Georgia Dawgpound Live and you're on Facebook, we want to get your comments. So go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. That will give Facebook permission to share your photo, your name, and your comment to our show. So happy to be here. We also have email, guys, in the event that you'd like to shoot us an email, middlegeorgiadawgpound@gmail.com. So, guys, we've got to get into this thing and get into this thing fast because I've got a special guest I want to bring on. But in Dawgpound style, we're going to roll that beautiful footage.
Welcome to the College Football Playoff. National Championship game presented by AT&T. A collision of SEC rivals, Alabama and Georgia. Young gets it to Bolden, but he's not going to get there. Lewis Seed. And they fake it to Bowers. Here's a downfield shot. George Pickens, a diving catch. Young on the move. Backpedaling. And they've got him back to the 20. He was actually been clicking. They just haven't found the end zone. Young launches downfield to Billingsley, and it's picked off by Smith. Reliable right guard tries to make it 4 for 4 tonight, but it's blocked. Cook makes a cut. He's got blazing speed. James Cook in a foot race. And the tide cracking down. They finally get him inside the 15. Zeus White muscles in. For a pretty good blocking tight end, Fitzpatrick. Now another flag. Bennett launching. Mitchell. Caught it. Touchdown, Georgia. Sure. I don't like this spot at all. It's 3rd and 1. They're going to throw for it. Bowers has got it. He's got a blocker. Touchdown, Georgia. You need 10. Play clock at 4. From the pocket. Launching downfield. Underthrown and intercepted. Keely Ringo has an escort down the sidelines. All the way to the end zone. And Georgia is going to cover the Crimson Tide. And then the pick 6 to seal it. And one more play for the Georgia defense. Georgia on the mountaintop. Demons be gone, and the drought is over.
Unbelievable night for the Dogs, guys. So excited. Shed a few tears. I have to tell you, I really did, and I have since then. But listen, guys, I want to make sure that I am cognizant of our guest time here, and I really appreciated him taking the time to come out and be on the show. WMAZ's one and only Marvin James. Thank you so much for coming on my show, man.
Hey, man, what's going on, fellas? And just so that everybody know, this is not LSU colors. This is my fraternity, so don't throw me off just yet.
Sure. We will not throw you off. Marvin, I know you were at the game on Monday night. Man, tell us what it was like, man. We all wanted to be there. Some of us could be, some of us couldn't be. Fill us in.
It was just electric. I think, to be honest with you, I think there was still some tension in the air coming off that Orange Bowl victory. Just coming into a game, you got to play Bama again, and we all know what Bama's capable of. So I think everybody still was they were very confident. We knew what the Georgia football team was all about. I mean, that was not a fluke. Just them playing the way they have all season long with that elite defense, and we knew that they can get the job done. It was just a matter of bringing it all together and coming out So I think that's what it was. I think people were very confident, but they were just very casual about it. And, the Dog Nation definitely represented in the Circle City in Indianapolis. Everywhere you went, every corner, it was somebody, it was a group calling the dogs. It was go Dogs this, go Dogs that. It really was like a 70-30, I would want to say,
Wow.
representation of Bulldog Nation. And I think that definitely made the difference. Kirby talked about it a lot.
That's so awesome, man. This is your second Natty that you've been able to go to, right?
Yeah. I got a chance to go in the one in 2018 when with Jake and that group, and they played phenomenal as well. I just think that this year was a little different. Not taking anything away from that team, just the defense was so stellar. So much that was so positive going on with the whole defensive unit. That I think that everybody really knew that Georgia was better than the way they played in the SEC championship, and that it just had to come together. And this was the perfect night for it to happen.
Absolutely. Well, I don't want to sound ungrateful, Mark, but let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
Now that we've finally beaten the Tide and we've
Okay.
got over the hump, does this
Right.
mean that we can rattle off 2 or 3 natties here in the next 5 years?
Well,
What's your
that's
thought?
the thing. I think that's the thing. I think that's something that's truly something that can happen. It's one of the things that what Georgia fans don't need to fall into, that sometimes that Bama swagger. I mean, when you start winning, everything comes with it, the good and the bad. And the bad is you expect it all the time. And I think maybe because we got this one off our back, it's like, okay, finally we can go ahead and breathe a little bit. But like, we can get pretty what's the word? It's just so, I guess, desperate for one, or so angry for one, or so like we got to do this. I mean, at some point in the season, there was a lot of milling between fans about the whole JT and Stetson thing. It was like Stetson was playing really well, but it was one of those things like, we ain't got time for this. Kirby's doing, everybody's questioning Kirby. It's very similar to the way people, not all people, but some fans were questioning Snicker. Down the stretch with the Braves, and then now here he is. He's a genius now, right? Because he won the world championship. So it's the same thing now with Kirby. I think everybody's like, oh, Kirby's the quarterback whisperer now because he made it happen. So I think that's the exciting thing about it, is that Georgia is just so loaded with talent. I mean, and they got so many pieces. They're losing some pieces, but they got so many pieces coming back. And I think that's the probability, is that, this could be an annual thing. This could be, the changing of the guard, or this could be the Georgia and, taking the place of Bama. I mean, or Georgia, Bama, that series like that went down with Clemson and Alabama for a while. Who knows? But Georgia definitely is here to stay.
Man, I love the way you think, Marv. Love it. Makes me excited just thinking about next year. But we ain't turning the page yet.
Not yet.
We're going to soak this sucker in for a long time. So, Marv, I got to ask you, and Matt, y'all jump in here if you got any questions for Marv, but I got to ask you, man, what does this personally mean to you? I know you're a Georgia fan. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to have Karis Jackson from our Middle Georgia area represent the Dogs with a natty?
I just think, just talking to these kids, and I think, honestly, the pressure every year is on that team, right? Like every year, everybody talks about from the outside in 1980, and you guys haven't done anything since 1980. So now every year the pressure's on these kids to take it and be that team that's being legendary. Every year Kirby does a great job of motivating the team. And if he's talking about chopping wood, or if he's talking about focusing on what you can control, or or now it was either you're elite or you're not, and these guys bought in. And they played like they were hair on fire, and they really, really, really bought into what Kirby was trying to say. And that's what makes me feel good. Talking to Karis after the game, and Quay Walker, who's down in Cordele, these guys were like, we're part of something legendary now. Like every time we come back on campus, people are going to remember us from that. We talk about Herschel. And those great guys, Lindsey Scott and Buck Bellew and all those guys from the first championship. But now there's so many other guys welcome to the club now. So that's the beautiful thing, I think, for them. When you come back, I'm pretty sure, I played at Georgia Southern, graduated from Georgia Southern, but to come back, I would imagine as a Dog and being a part of that 21, 22 national championship team, anytime you come back, And somebody might not recognize you in street clothes, but they say, "Oh, how you doing? Your name? My name is Keely." What? That's like amazing. Like you're automatically, you don't have to pay for your dinner, you don't have to buy a drink. It's like that's the kind of stuff that I think is just amazing for those kids, and that's what I'm excited about for them.
Well, Kevin, Matt, you guys have any questions for Marv before we let him get back to his job here? Marv, I took the liberty of stealing this photo,
no worries,
right here.
man.
I knew that Curious mean a lot to you, and it means a lot to our Middle Georgia area representing. And I went on your Facebook page and snipped this photo because it was such an awesome time, man.
Yeah,
so
he was
awesome.
smoking a cigar. He was having a good time smoking a cigar on the carpet, and I asked him to get up because he was just having a good time. I mean, it just everybody. I mean, just looking in the stands and seeing the tears. Looking in the stand and seeing the tears from the fans that were there. I saw one picture on a guy brought his father's ashes in an urn to the game.
Wow.
And he was just saying that, Dad, we made it. And it means such a big deal. This is far from anybody who's complaining like, man, I'm tired of seeing you're in the minority, because there's so many people that are really excited about what is happening with Georgia football and this big deal that is happening. So I'm excited. I mean, just like I said, to see the fans out there, people were crying. I mean, the fans that were running on the field, there were some a little on that dog water, excited, running around, evading the security. There was a couple of people that probably spent the night with some fancy bracelets on that night but I think at the end of the day, they're going to probably, think like, wow, that was worth it just to be on that field and to run out there. But yeah, you don't get a chance to do this very often. And this was a great thing for Georgia football, man. And I think people need to really embrace it, because this is special, and it takes a lot to get to this point. Bama makes it look easy sometimes because they're the blueprint, but Georgia's been up there fighting too, and now they are definitely in the mix, and one of those teams that got to be reckoned with for a long time.
Yes, sir. Well, Matt, Kevin, you guys got any questions for Marv before we let him get off and get back to work?
I jotted down a couple. I got one, man. Marv. Some of the media members before the Orange Bowl game, they said they walked out on that field and they saw the team coming on the field, and they could see it in their eyes, the fire in their eyes. That they knew that they were going to win this game. Was it the same mood when they came on the field when they took the field for the national championship?
Absolutely. I think there was just like it was when I said about the confidence and like a casual respect, I was talking about the fans. The players, I think, were locked in. I mean, Nakobe was like really just locked in. I mean, it was just a difference to see that kind of reaction. And I think, honestly, I mean, we can be truthful about this, right? I mean, I think the guys were embarrassed the way they played against Alabama in December. They knew that wasn't who they were. They wanted to come out there and clear their name and put some respect on their name and earn that back to that elite defense that everybody talked about so much. So yeah, I think when they came out the field, it was like a no doubt they were ready. And I think playing at halftime, as bad as Georgia came out to play, only be down by 3. I think everybody felt like, okay, here we go. We're in this thing, for the long haul. And I know, being a Georgia fan, I know at the end of the game, everybody was still worried until Keely crossed that goal line. And then you can breathe and say, oh my God, this is really happening. Because if you said, no, I knew we were going to, I don't know about that, because we've been in this. We've seen this movie before, right? We know that we have to wait until the very end. And so when Keely did that, man, I just think that's when the roof went off, first of all, and the chills started coming in, and then people literally started losing it. Like they started, the tears were coming. The what is it when they put their head on their head? Oh my God, it was just
Surrender Cobra.
Yeah, the Surrender Cobra was like, wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I just really have one more question, Marvin, and I'll leave it alone. You know, for us, we're always jealous of you media guys. Y'all get to get down there on the field and be
the one time people are jealous of media guys,
right? Well, we are, because y'all get to get down there on the sidelines in the mix of things. And what is one special memory that you're going to take from this game? One thing that you're going to remember for the rest of your life?
The fans screaming and cheering each other. I think, and I'm going to be old school because Kirby and I are about the same age. Kirby probably, I think, is a year older than I am. He was at Bainbridge when I was in Warner Robins. He graduated like class of '93. Seeing Kirby literally transform into a kid, running up and down the sideline, jumping up and down, just being so animated, you know, that's genuine. That's legit. That's not him doing it for cameras. He's legitimately, like, I don't think he would care if there was a camera in the building and he was playing in some back alley somewhere. He literally loves the game. And for him to come back to his university and come back and win a national championship like the way he did, that's a dream. I mean, you know, it's one thing to go to Georgia and play, but it's another thing to come back and win it as a alum and a former player and just to be so young. Kirby's young. He's got a lot of time left to be coaching. So I think that's the thing that I'm going to remember, because the kids appreciate it. Like, those kids appreciate it. All those players appreciate it. Nolan Smith, all those guys, you know, Stetson, they all appreciate it. But I always say, because we're a little older, nobody appreciates it like these older folks that really had to go through it. You know, for them, it's only been like 3 or 4 years, man. 4 years. We waited 4 years for this. 4 years. Everybody's been waiting since we were kids.
Yeah.
You know? So that's the beautiful part of it.
Yes, we were 4, weren't we, Marv?
What's that?
I said we were 4, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. I was 80. I was right at 5. Yeah, I'm a December baby, so I was like 5 for like 2 weeks. But and that's another thing too. I think that on the way back, on the plane back, Keely's mom was sitting beside me. She had the seat beside me, and just listening to her, you know, she's going through cancer, finishing up her last round of chemo. And, you know, she's just like so proud and so excited about it. And I think that's what it comes all about, because like people were recognizing her and she was so proud. And I think that's what it boils down to. These kids work their butt off, and they've done it even under harder circumstances with the COVID. You know, you imagine going to college and being told all you can do is go to practice, go to class, and come home.
Yeah, that's tough.
That ain't real. I mean, nobody does that. You know what I mean?
No,
I mean, trust me, I went to Southern. We partied every day, every night. And you know, to ask a kid to do that, and then for them to be able to complete it, I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, for sure.
But I got a question for y'all. Can I ask y'all?
Go, man. Go for it.
Right. Go. Okay. So just give me your truth, and I haven't seen all the shows, but how have you guys dealt with the whole JT Stetson issue? Who on here, raise your hand, was saying we got to have JT? We can't win without a 5-star. We can't win without a pro-style quarterback. I mean, how do y'all feel about it now?
All the way at the top up there. Go. This was you, Matt. This was you.
That was me like season 3 or 4, like week 3 or 4. It wasn't like last week, okay?
Okay.
And so, I mean, when we eventually got to like game 6, it was the point to where we're like, you know, we need to put that stuff to rest. We need to support who's ever under center. And that kind of became our men from the last 7, 8 games has been that mentality. It doesn't matter who's behind. It doesn't matter who's behind, who's under center, who's tossing the ball around the yard. It ultimately, I mean, we look at it when we talk about, reviewing some of the videos and stuff. And you mentioned it, Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith, I mean, did a great interview after the game, and his thing was the name on the back is for my mother. The name on the front is for this university and for the family of Georgia. And that's kind of what we needed. We took on as a show, is like, we're going to support the front of that jersey, not so much the back of it. And so that's kind of how we teamed up and said, whoever's there, who's ever wide receiver, who's ever whatever position, we're going to support them as they are. We're not going to say we need to be the ones who need to be dictating who's there. We're not in practice. We're not in these rooms. Yeah. And so, early on, we were definitely, when it was back and forth, you didn't know who was going to start. We're all giving our opinions. But I think this last 7 games, we've all said, hey, we're just going to support who's there. And then eventually we got to a point where, like, this guy's earned the job.
Right.
He's done nothing to show us he doesn't deserve this job. And even if it has one bad game, he doesn't deserve to lose the job.
Yeah. I just think that, I think it wasn't a matter of just like, I think people were just like, listen, we're so close. We got to do everything right. We're so close. And I think that's what it was. People just had an opinion on it. And I think it was fine. The biggest thing is, and I get on Twitter, and every once in a while I'll get on to somebody and say, come on, man, come on. Let's do. But, you first of all, don't ever argue with anybody on Twitter because it never ends. I mean, I oh my gosh, I've done it plenty of times. But I mean, ultimately, I think that's the thing. As true Georgia fans, just were like so concerned because this was the year, right? I mean, last year with Jamie Newman was supposed to be the year, right? But then this was the year. So just awesome, man. It's just great to be a Georgia Bulldog, and I know people are excited about it, man. And the parade's coming up. It's just great times, and people they should really enjoy this whole season because you don't know. There may not be another Natty for a while, but you have to really and pray. Forgive me for saying that. I'm not
put
saying
that in the air.
I'm not. But what I'm saying is, you just got to enjoy it, man.
Yeah,
you got to enjoy it.
Well, my dad's begging me to ask you a question. He said, "What is it? Why is it that the media focuses on Alabama injuries rather than the Georgia success?"
Well, I don't know if it was the media per se. I did hear that, but my thing is this. Football is football. Survival of the fittest. But Georgia has just as many injuries on their side as Alabama did. They just didn't happen right then, but we didn't have Pickens all year. Pickens played 2 games and caught like 3 catches. You know what I mean? And he's one of the most dominant receivers. Dominic Blaylock is another guy who hasn't been there. We never saw Eric Gilbert at all, right? So, I mean, there's so many players that we can sit here and talk about that haven't been there for Georgia as well. I think, people are gonna say, whatever they want. Alabama fans are gonna make their excuses. They say no excuses, but they say you lost James. But that's part of the game. You have to play through injuries. I mean, they got hurt, unfortunately. Nobody wanted them to get hurt, but they did, and they still have to man up. It's not like people get hurt, you can just say, let's cut it out and let's move it on. But I think to answer your dad's question, I guess the media as a whole will probably do that just because Alabama's is the example. They've been the ones that have won so many championships. So they're going to get the whatever. I guess you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, the first thing Nick Saban said was y'all kicked our butt in the 4th quarter, and that's what happened. That's the difference. Sir. If they win, then what? It's like, oh my God, Alabama beat Georgia with their JV team. So they can't have it both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to take it.
Well, Marvin, I sure do appreciate you coming on. And
I thank you guys.
I want to be cognizant of your time, and I saw you at the game, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna send him a message and see if he'll come on my show and share his thoughts. But do appreciate you. I'll let you get back to your job. I know you got stuff to do to prepare for the news tonight. But guys, Marvin James on the Dawgpound.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Keep on supporting us at 13 and continue to support these young kids here in the Central Georgia area. Whether they go to the Georgias or Mercers or Fort Valley or Georgia Southern, Georgia State. Let's just continue to support these kids because they really need the support from us and the guys who love football and understand the game to just give them that pat on the back.
Yep. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right. Take it easy, bud.
Thanks, bud.
I like how he didn't mention Georgia Tech.
Love it.
Man.
Well, guys, we gotta talk about our sponsor. We do have a sponsor for this show today, guys. Our sponsor is Up All Night Creations. Our buddy Ray Knight, who is a member of the Middle Georgia Dawgpound fan page, provided us these T-shirts. Have our logo on them. Super awesome. Somebody needs to turn around and show them the logo on the back. There you go, Kevin.
Can you see it?
I can, buddy. I can. Also, he provided us these koozies, Middle Georgia Dawgpound koozies. Got our names on them. Super sweet. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Ray and Jessica, thanking them for supporting our show. Here's just a few items that they can provide for you. Reach out to Ray at upallnightcreations@gmail.com. There's his phone number scrolling at the bottom of the page. I'll leave it going so that you guys can write it down. In the event that you need special something for someone, he can hook you up and get you taken care of. There's his information again, but I'll leave that scrolling at the bottom of the page for you. Well, listen, our next guest, of course, this is a call-in show. I want to make sure that I let everybody know that the link, if you want to come into the show, share your thoughts, spill your 41 years of frustration out to us, or 41 years of exuberance. And that's what I've got, is exuberance. But come on the show. The link is posted in the information portion of the beginning of the show there. If you're on YouTube, it's at the beginning of the YouTube box. Go on YouTube if you haven't already. Click the like button, subscribe to our YouTube page at the Middle Georgia Dawgpound at YouTube, and we will love to have you on the show. Our next guest is Mr. Bryan Ryals. Bryan, how you doing,
Hello.
Buddy? Yes, sir.
I'm fine. How you guys doing?
Doing great,
Doing
man.
Great, man. Great to have you.
Good to
Bryan
be
was
here.
at the game. Bryan, I can't wait to hear how it felt, man. What did it feel like when you walked into that stadium, and then when you walked out with your head held high, my friend?
At the end of the night, it's good to be the king. It is good to be the king. That's all I can say. The beginning of the night, it was electric. Everybody was anticipating a victory. Everybody was so excited. I think a lot of the fans had faith that God was going to deliver us, and He did. That's all I can say, man. God showed up. He let Georgia put on a show, and we got us a natty.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I saw that you were there with maybe some friends or family.
Yeah, Dr. Kevin Smith. He's a pet vet up in Forsyth, primary pet care Forsyth, and him and his wife. We go to a lot of games together, whether it be home games or we have traveled as far as the Rose Bowl in 17-18 to see that game, and that was electric as well. Yeah, that doesn't need no description of how that was.
Well, I stole some of your photos there, Bryan, off of the page. I lost him. Oh, no. Well, hopefully we'll get him back on. I lost him there. He is gone. Well, I took some of Bryan's photos off of his page. I'll show them to you guys while we're waiting on him to get back on the screen here. But he got a picture of the bus and the 2022 logo there. There he is.
Sorry about that.
No problem, buddy. Let me get you back where I can have you big screen on the screen. There you go. Tell us a little bit about the photos that you took, man. I stole some of your photos off here. We lost him again. Dang it. Well, we'll try to get Mr. Riles back on a little bit later on. How about that, guys?
All right.
Hey, if anybody wants to jump on, like I said, get on the link on the beginning of the Facebook stream. Well, here he is. He's back. We'll try him one more time here. Bryan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you. I live out in the country
fantastic.
in the sticks, so I don't have great service.
I understand. Well, I was just saying I took some of your photos off your Facebook page. I saw you went to St. Elmo's Steakhouse and got a photo of the Georgia bus there. Love this photo right here. This must have been in the fan zone or something.
Yeah, that was in Fan Central. We actually went in there. We were on the way there when we saw Marvin James. He was sitting down at a bench, and he was trying to gather all his stuff, getting ready to go in. And so we spoke to him and talked to him for a few minutes and he said, well, I'll just walk with y'all and I'll go in with y'all. Well, we got over there, we started talking as we went, and when we got up there, we realized that we could not take our bags in that we had, and Marvin allowed us to put our bags into his bag, and so that's how we kind of got into the fan central carrying our bags.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Guys, you got any questions for Bryan?
So for me, and like I said, I was going to ask Marvin this as well, but for me, we've seen all these videos, everybody's reaction during the interception by Ringgold, and as the clock ticked down, what was your reaction with all your friends and family around you? I mean, of course, mine was everything we've seen. I did all that as well. I was screaming like a little schoolgirl. I went outside and yelled and pissed my neighbors off. I was streaking through the neighborhood. I didn't do that, but I did all that stuff, and it was exciting. My families and my daughters were excited as well. And so what was your reaction? What were things that you were seeing around you when that stuff happened?
Everybody was just in shock and awe, and I don't really think anybody, we were all celebrating, but, it's not over till the fat lady sings. And until he got into that end zone, we just didn't know if it was going to happen or not. We just, we've lost so many times and last second and been upset, but we felt good and we felt great when that interception and he did that run back.
Awesome.
Do appreciate you coming on, man. Tell us personally, what does this Natty mean to you, buddy?
The first time I ever watched a national championship, Georgia was in, I was 6 years old. I vaguely remember I was sitting on the couch with my parents, and Herschel Walker instantly became my hero. And about 2 months ago, I actually pulled into a gas station near my hometown of where I live, and I looked over coming out of the store, and I said, darn, that guy sure looks like Herschel Walker. And, Herschel's running for a campaign right now in the Senate against, I think, Raphael Warnock. So we need to lift him up and support him. Anyway, enough about that. But he come out the store, and he had a driver there that really, looked like a bodyguard as well. He was kind of big and in shape. And I spoke to him and walked over to him, and he said, would you like a picture? And I said, oh, definitely. I would definitely love a picture. And by this time, several of my friends had pulled up as well, because this store is a store that gets a ton of traffic. And they were like, Bryan, you know who that is? That's Herschel Walker. I said, yeah, no crap. And so the guy asked for our phones. He gets our phones, and I say, Mr. Walker, I'd love to have a picture with you. And he was so humble and down to earth. He said, no, I'm not Mr. Walker. I'm Herschel. But when I saw, my childhood hero, I got a picture with him and, talked to him about his accomplishments and the accomplishments of Georgia. I just kind of lost it. But at the end of the game, at the Natty, I did lose it, along with countless other fans. We all had tears in our eyes, and I'm sure you guys did too. Absolutely. It was just it was amazing, and I just love my dogs.
Yes, sir. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show. You've been a faithful member of our page, and you love to share your photos and your experiences. And I just appreciate you coming on and taking the time to speak with us. And I'll let you jump off this thing, and we'll keep this party rolling. What do you say?
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, man. I really appreciate it. I look forward to being back with y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, what a fun story, y'all. Fun story.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Yeah. What was your favorite part, Matt? I hadn't asked you what your favorite part of the game was.
So this is going to sound a little different than probably the majority of everybody else. I think majority of people were these big plays that happened. But for me, and one of the, I guess for me, it's almost one of the turning points as well is when after we had that big long run with the tight end that came down the sideline, he got taken out by the 5-yard line, and they were trying to score there at the into the first half, and Tyndall missed his assignment on one of the receivers in the end zone. Thank God the ball got batted down. But to see Nakobe Dean get up in his junk and get in his stuff like a true leader and wake him up, and then to see that next play, I guess it was maybe 2 plays later, whatever it was, to go and make that sack, that to me was one of my favorite things watching. I mean, of course, other things are no doubters for sure, but that is the wake up call. Like them, it's almost like them saying, "Guess what? Nobody's getting in this end zone today. They can kick field goals all day long, but no one's getting in this end zone." And if honestly, if it wasn't for some awful call by the refs, to give them a short field for a touchdown, they never would have gotten our end zone. Never would have been even close. That defense was playing. I know they scored 18 points, whatever, right? But that defense played great that night. They kept us in that game, and they kept those offensive players' heads up, even though they weren't playing great that first half. And so, to me, that was it. Their fire was there, and that's what I wanted to see. I didn't want to see the quitting mentality we saw the first game, and that's a long explanation for it, but that really was mine. I love seeing that leadership on the field.
Well, I got your video for you, buddy.
Look at you.
Yeah, I love that, man. I had to pull it down for you. I found that video. I was like, okay, I knew somebody was going to talk about that. So, Kevin, what was yours, man? I think I know.
Oh man, I have so many. I've got to say it's the long bomb to A.D. Mitchell. That kid, that's been my guy all season long. And Bryan will tell you this. I have talked about this kid and talked about this kid and talked about him. This is our next superstar. I think you're right. He has come out of the woodworks but he has done nothing but hustle this entire season. When they needed him the most, he was on the field working his butt off and to try to make plays for the Georgia Bulldogs. It wasn't about him. It was about that team. And you could tell it by the way this kid played. And they rolled out and got the flag on the play. Stetson knew he had a free play, and he heaved it and threw a dime. And it fell right between him and the defender, and he come up with the ball. And you could tell the tide, so to speak. I hate using that word because of who we were playing, but the tide was shifting, and you could feel it. The defense is the one who kept us in the game. I mean, let's be real. They played lights out all night long to give up one touchdown compared to what they did in the SEC championship game. These guys hustled. They played hard. They came with that fire in their eyes to win this game. And toward the end of the game, the offense started dialing on, clicking. That play for A.D. Mitchell, that's got to be my favorite.
Can't hear you, Bryan.
Jason Barfield says they kept talking about Bama only had freshman receivers left. Well, that's who scored all of our touchdowns. I totally agree. Totally agree. And then Kendall Lon says A.D. Mitchell just out-wrestled that catch. He sure did. Yes. And John Akaki says the Pickett's catch was amazing too, and it was.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm. It's the funny thing about them too. If you switch those uniforms, I bet you couldn't tell which the body types are so similar with him and Pickens, it's really scary. If you put a number 5 on Pickens and put a number 1 on AD, would you really know the difference on the field? Their athletic ability is really incredible. And that's the one thing I echo Kevin for sure, because when usually you watch these spring games, you see these guys play great in spring and you never hear from them again. Not for him. He played a great spring game, took advantage of it, and still carried it over to the season. And so that's really encouraging.
Yep, absolutely. Well, my favorite play of the game was obviously the pick six, and I pulled it down so that we could hear Scott Howard make the call. So
low-hanging fruit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Low-hanging fruit. Here we go.
Man in motion to the near side, then they reverse it with Billingsley back to the right. Snap to Young. Drops back, pressure from the edges. He throws near sideline, and it's intercepted. Intercepted. Keely Ringo at the 21. Off he goes. 40, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Near sideline. Breaks the tackle. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. 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 Georgia. 54 seconds to go. Keely Ringo with about a 75-yard return. No flags. 32-18. Let the celebration begin. 54 seconds to play.
And the Dog Nation has erupted. The coach's booth right next to us. Everybody is standing up.
What an exclamation point by a defense that's played outstanding all night long. Wow.
And what an answer for this defense as well. Got shredded in the SEC championship game. To come back and put this kind of performance up and to end it like that, it is only fitting. One of the best defenses I've ever seen in my life hammers this one home.
Keely Ringo, the point after by Podlesny is good, and it's 33-18. Bulldogs on top with 54 seconds to go in the national championship. Ringo's second pick of the year. 79 yards officially on the pick six. In Alabama, a Ringo ate your baby.
Boy, and the blocking of the Georgia defense after that interception. Ringo takes off and just had a convoy of white jerseys out in front of him.
Yeah, looking at a replay, Dan Jackson with a block or some sort of a collision with the Jai Hall for Alabama to prevent a tackle from being made inside the 10-yard line. Wow. Play for the ages. Keely Ringo, 79 yards on the interception return and the pick six. The Dogs are 54 seconds away from it.
I love it when he says Ringo ate your baby.
I got two things I take out of that, man. That block by Dan Jackson, man. If you go back and look at it, watch him. He's looking down the field, sees that guy coming across, and he takes off and starts sprinting as hard as he could. And he put his body on the line so we could score that touchdown right there, because he just got in front of him and just got wrecked. Dan Jackson got absolutely wrecked on that play. And the other thing was when Ringo come off that field, Kirby's face, when they got that other camera angle, you see that look on Kirby's face. It was just elation. That's the only way that I could think to describe it. You could see the pride in Kirby's face with his guys, man. He loves these guys.
Absolutely. Well, the other thing you failed to mention was Kirby bending down to scoop up Bryce Young off the ground to help him get up, and then in the press conference say he's the best player in college football. That says a lot about Kirby, in my opinion. So it was a pretty neat thing. Well, listen, guys, I want to bring on Robbie Sims. You guys remember Robbie? He came on the show several months back, and wanted to bring him on just because he's been such an avid fan of the Dogs, and he's been an avid fan of our page. And I hope he's on here. I don't see his photo, but I'm going to bring him on, see if we can hear him. Robbie, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. Y'all can't see the photo on it?
I cannot see you, my friend. I don't know what's happened with your camera, but man, tell us, Robbie, what this means to you, dude. I know that you've been at a lot of games in Sanford Stadium in between the hedges. What did this thing mean to you?
Yeah, I tell you, the first things first. I'm like y'all. I was 4 years old when the first one, when the 1980 championship went, and I don't remember it. I'll be honest with you. I've been with working the field security for 15 years, and I've seen a lot of good players come through the University of Georgia. But this team was special from day one. I could see it. I mean, it was this was an elite defense from start. And I've always heard the old adage say, defense wins championships. And like I think Matt said earlier, the defense kept them in this game and kept it close enough for the offense to get fired up and get running, and to watch them guys just pick each other up time and time and time again throughout that game and get to a point where they just start rolling was just impressive to me. It was a culmination of all year. You see the pieces get put together, and they were there. They were all in. They were 100%. They were ready to go, and I don't think there was anything in the world that could have stopped them.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. This defense was otherworldly. I don't know that we'll ever see a defense like this again.
Yeah, it was special, that's for sure. And like I said, it's like somebody said earlier, I hope that we're seeing what Alabama has seen over the last few years in the stance that we're just going to reload and continue on. The recruiting trail has definitely been hot. I know I've been watching it close, and they've picked up a lot of DBs in this coming up class. And I think Georgia is finally starting to get that role like Alabama did 4 or 5 years ago, where they just reload. It's just, let's just get back to pick up where we left off and just keep right on going and keep right on beating them. So it's going to be a fun time for the next 4 or 5 years, in my opinion.
I totally agree.
Most definitely.
You guys got any questions for Robbie?
What's your most memorable play from the game?
I've got 2, actually. And one, I'm going to piggyback off what y'all did, the leadership role between Tyndall and Nakobe Dean. To me, that speaks volumes about this team and about them as a whole. I love that play. I love the fact that he was the first one over there congratulating when he made that sack, a play or two later. But the other one I loved was in the last 6 minutes of the game where we're running the ball. Zeus got a push from the offensive line. But that offensive line was laying on the ground. And when they seen him get stood up, you watch these guys, these 300-pound giants, pop up off this ground and just lay into this thing and push him another 4 or 5 yards. It just goes back to showing, how much they as a team was in this together. It wasn't a one-man show. It wasn't a Stetson Bennett. It wasn't a George Pickens. It was an entire team doing everything and laying it all out on the line to get that last push.
Absolutely. Well, man, I know we're going to lose some guys to the draft, and we're going to lose some guys to the portal. And I've already had one that's came up today that kind of surprised me with his name is
Breeny?
Breeny. Surprised the crap out of me.
Me too.
Who else?
11 starts on the year.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Who else are you hearing that might surprise us?
I was kind of surprised at some of the wide receivers that we saw, joining in there because, obviously Pickens, he spent most of the time on the sidelines. It's still questionable whether he comes back or if he goes to the draft. But that was a concern coming into this year was the wide receiver room. How many healthy wide receivers will we have? And you see how easily they get banged up from time to time. And to see the wide receivers jump in the portal after winning a Natty, I'm like, what in the world? Now, from the DB standpoint, I kind of saw that because this class that's coming behind them is loaded with DBs that we picked up in the recruiting class, even in the early signing period. So I think you were going to see some of that attrition, but that surprised me about the wide receivers.
Well, last week we had John Krug on the call. Bill Krug. I'm sorry, Bill Krug, number 42, one of top 20 defensive players for Georgia. He was on the call with us last week, and he one of his keys to the game was to make sure we got pressure on Bryce Young. So he was asking Matt, says, "Did we get pressure on Bryce Young?" Laugh out loud.
All day long.
And even when they didn't sack him, they were bumping him at the end of the throw.
Yep.
He got banged up all game, the entire game.
If they were on grass, that Joker's jersey and helmet would have been covered in grass stains, and he would have been picking turf out of his helmet all night long.
Yes, he would.
If we were playing on grass.
Yep. Yeah, John Akaki says they imposed their will, and defense definitely did that. Brian Ryals that was just on, he says, I heard that Jermaine Burton was a name that's popped up. I heard that too today. I mean, I just would hate to lose that kid, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand Portal? That.
Really?
Yeah, even Terrence Edwards said he had heard it.
Wow.
So he said he hasn't talked to him, but he did hear it. And, of course, y'all heard that Johnson entered the portal.
Robinson did, too.
Robinson, that's it. Robinson, yeah.
I called Robinson, though. We had our show a few weeks ago. I called Robinson would be leaving out.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Well, you guys got any other questions for Robbie?
How's security going to be for Saturday?
Yeah.
I tell you, man, this is uncharted territory for us too. I mean, first national championship in my lifetime, first national championship celebration I've ever been to. Me and my guys have been talking about it all week. I've had a lot of folks call and go, "Hey, I'll work." Never worked a game for me in 15 years. I said, we're taking our most tenured staff with us for this thing because we want to make sure that things run smooth. But we really don't know what to expect. I mean, we know the dog walk's going to go. We know that they're going to have a stage of some type, either in the west end zone or on the field of the west end zone, one of the two. We know it starts at 2:00 as far as the celebration goes, but we don't know if it's going to last an hour or if we're going to be there all night. I mean, my understanding is from Tuesday to Thursday at 4:00, they open those tickets up to donors and season ticket holders. And at 4:00, they put on there, whatever was left. My understanding is in 2 hours they were sold out. Wow. They were gone. And so
we had the hardest time getting them, Robbie. Me and Kevin, we jumped on as soon as that link went active, and it kept kicking us out. And we finally got the tickets. But yeah, everybody's going to be there.
I think you're going to I think it's going to be standing room only, and and at the end of the day, I think it's going to be hard pressed to get those people out of the stadium. So I would be there all night, which is fine by me. Party on, let's do it.
That's right.
I'll work all day, but yeah, we're going to have a full Titan crew there, and like I said the last time I was on, if anybody decides they want to work with us, Titan is always looking for additional folks. The best time for a newbie to come on is the spring game. It's laid back. Give me a call, hit Bryan up. He's got my information.
Yep.
I'll definitely get you added on. I can't guarantee everybody in the field because there's only so many spots on the field, but we can definitely get you in a good seat, good spot where you can see the game and be up close and personal with some of them guys.
Well, dude, thanks for coming back on again. I definitely wanted to get you back on because you're such a diehard dog. And, man, I don't know if you could tell, but my voice still hadn't come back. I blew that sucker slam out.
My voice was gone by the third quarter. The first half, I think I pretty much lost it because I was screaming so much at some of the referee calls and some of that stuff that was going on. But
that's what started.
I thank y'all. I thank y'all for inviting me back. Like I said, I love what you're doing. I love the show. I think I tried to be on here every single week. There were some times I just couldn't do it, but it's great to hear like-minded people dissect the game and have a love for and appreciation for what really goes on between those lines. So enjoy y'all show, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy. Hey, you have a good one. Hopefully we'll see you on Saturday, and we can stop by and say hey and get some photos and stuff. But appreciate you, dude.
I tell you this: all the guys that are at the gates that come onto the field have radios. If you go to any one of those gates and tell them to call for me, they'll call me on the radio. I'll come over and take a picture with you guys.
Sweet,
right,
man.
sounds awesome.
We'll do it. We'll do it. All right, bud. Have a good one. Be safe.
Y'all take care.
Yeah, so Ken Lalonde, he's like, the portal doesn't mean gone. Could be testing the water on NIL. Yeah, this darn NIL mess, I think, is going to ruin college football unless somebody really put some legislation in there. I think you're going to start seeing these kids, these schools require these kids to, when they sign up, hey, I need a 2-year, 3-year commitment out of you or whatever, you know, that you're going to be here for this amount of time because, you know, they're not going to recruit you if you're going to be a one and done. And that's what's wrong with college basketball. Let's just be honest. These kids that go in and play 1 year in college basketball and one and done, who can build a program like that?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah, you can't.
So,
yeah, you got to have the commitment out of them for sure.
Yeah, Dad says, I heard just then that Todd Monken was headed back to the NFL. I'd heard that too, but I don't know how valid it is, but we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Let's see. What other comments did I miss? Brian Ryals said something earlier, and I was going to throw it up on the screen. Oh, here he is. He said, I don't agree with this transfer portal, the way they allow athletes to leave an institution at the drop of a dime because they don't get the play time they think they deserve. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. I mean, what happened to what Stetson Bennett did? I mean, dude, go out, work for it, earn it. That's what the rest of us have to do in life, right?
Yeah.
If you want something, you got to earn it.
That's right.
Let's see. I don't know who posted this because their name's not there. I'm trying to look back through my phone at the same time I'm posting these, but it says, I heard that with these kids being offered money now, that is what's causing all of this. Yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely agree. Well, guys, hey, folks, if you want to jump on the show, the link's right here scrolling across the bottom. Type that in your browser and come on the show. We'd love to talk to you. Love to hear what you have to say, what this Natty means to you. I know Ken Lalonde's on here. I'd love to get you on, Ken. I can send you the link if you need me to. John Morgan, I see you posting on here too. Love to talk to you guys. Get on this thing and share what it means to you. Bill is on here. John Akaki's on here. We'd love to talk to you.
We got to get John on there. Where's John? Why are you not on here, John?
Yeah, no doubt. Ain't that the truth? We got to hear from John and Bill. Let me see if I can send them the link here real quick and get them to jump on.
They're too busy poking fun at me is what they're doing.
That's what they're doing.
I saw all the little posts that John's been throwing up at you here.
Well, I got to say something before we move forward.
Go, man.
And nobody knows, and I think I told Matt, but he's the only other one that knows. Daddy knows, but Bryan called this year before it even happened. He told me before this year started, he said, buddy, he said, we're going to every Georgia game we can get to. And I was like, man, that's crazy. He said, no. He said, we're going to every one we can get to. He said, this is the year, buddy. He said, I'm telling you right now. He said, this is the year. He said, we're going to win it all this year. He said, I'm telling you, without a shadow of a doubt, we're going to win it all. And he called it before the spring game. He called it. I mean, dead on the money, called it. Said, this is the year. We got the talent. We got the pieces in place. We're going to go to the Natty, and we're going to win it. And I just wanted to tell everybody that because he's not going to say it, but I will. I'll tell him he called it dead on the money. And it has been an awesome year. It has been super fun going to all the games with Bryan and Matt and Daddy. It was a blast. I've had the most fun I've had in a long time this year. Every game that we've been to, we have had a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my highlight of the year was the Georgia-Florida game. Didn't get much better than that, man. Going down
it did
and
not.
Seeing all them jorts walking around and them guys and gals dressed up in that puke orange and puke blue colors that they wear and talking their smack at the Paul Feinbaum show. And we got, all we had to say is, dude, you guys have Cousin Eddie as a coach, and he ain't even there no more. He ain't even there anymore. And to see that side of the stadium empty after halftime was glorious.
Yeah. It was magnificent. Yeah. That is definitely one that we have got to do every year. That was fun.
There he is.
There he is.
The
About
man,
time you got on
the
here.
myth, the legend.
Go Dogs.
John Akaki. What's up, buddy?
My God, what a legend.
There he is.
What are we doing?
The legend. Go Dogs.
What are we doing?
You got us. You got both shows going. I think you got the Facebook Live going, and you got the StreamYard going here, John. So you're getting a lot of feedback. But
this other one down.
You got both shows.
I shut it down.
All right, here's gonna get crazy now.
Look
at here, Bill Krug.
Hey guys, what's up?
We got them both on here now. How about that?
Hey, I got a little information to share with you. Ben Zambezi from Canada is willing to come on the show when we can get it.
I'm a little on.
Did you
I
hear
lost
that?
you, John. You said Ben Zambezi's willing to come on the show.
I said Ben Zambezi and I talked last week, and he's willing to come on the show. You know, he played at Mount DeSales.
Right.
And he's Georgia's #1 tackler ever, all-time tackler, and Bill played with him. But he's in Canada right now, and he's staying there. That's where he lives. But he's willing to come on the show when we put it forth.
That'd be awesome.
I'd love to have him on.
Awesome.
Love to have him on. Well, tell me, guys, I want to hear from you, John.
Hey, there's double speak from John, which is nothing unusual. He speaks out of both ends.
There you go. Well, Bill, John, tell me what it mean to you, what this meant to you, buddy.
He speaks out of both ends.
Well, you know, it was cataclysmic to say the least. It was a great season, and you know, Bill and I got to go to the practice, the last scrimmage, and JT Daniels took the team down the field. So we started Clemson off in that capacity. And we had a lot of people down, right? Tyke Smith was out, and Washington was out, and Arik Gilbert went AWOL, and Blaylock was out, and we didn't even know if we were going to field the team. And to come from a Conkey who no one never knew, and Bowers, who we heard great things prior to the season, to culminate in a national championship is unbelievable. We were. I guess we came out of the dark to the forefront of college football, and now everybody's expecting more.
Yeah, totally agree. Like Kirby says, once you get to the top, the wind blows harder there, right?
Yeah, I think I heard him say that also. I was talking to Bill. He played in a game in '76 against Tony Darcett, and Johnny Majors was the coach at Pittsburgh. It was before you all were born, and it was #1 against #4. The Dogs did not prevail, so Bill played in the national championship game. And we talked about that, and this team is totally different than the chemistry and the dynamics of teams that Bill and I would have played on. Much more focused, much more expectant, and a hell of a lot more talent. Wouldn't you say that, Bill? Much more focused, much more expectant, and a hell of a lot more talent. Wouldn't you say that, Bill?
Yeah, it was a totally different feeling. Unfortunately, there's a lot more to that story, John, that I have my reservations ever saying it publicly. We didn't defensively play well, but it was like having your hand tied behind your back with some stuff that was going on behind the scenes leading into the game. And I didn't know about it till an hour before game time. And our fate was sealed an hour before game time. I hate to say that publicly, but I'm not going to get into who the people were, but there were quitters on the team. Let me just say that, because they were being paid the next week.
Gotcha. Bill, tell us a little bit about what this national championship means to you, buddy.
But this year, oh man, I mean, I could have gone outside and started dancing. I've had all kinds of people coming up to me, congratulating me. Everybody that knows I played and I'm living in North Carolina. These are all non-Georgia people that are just as excited for me and Georgia. And I'm very, very lucky in that respect. Very blessed with a lot of good people around here and everything. I'm Catholic. One of my priests called me out of a meeting just to congratulate me. I thought I did something wrong. That was how cool it was, you know.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Hey, I just want to say this again to you and John, since we got you on here, and I know I said this to you the last time you were on the show, but thank you guys for the legacy that you've left. Every season leads to the next. You guys led to the first Natty, and from that point on, I mean, think about Terrence Edwards and David Green and all of those folks that were recruited to come in that led that legacy for Mark Richt. Mark Richt would not have been the coach or had the success that he had it not been for those players that were recruited ahead of time. And the same thing goes for Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart would have not had the immediate success that he had it not been for the players that Mark Richt recruited up to that point. So thank you guys for what you do. You're some DGDs, and I appreciate you guys coming on the show and being a part of this thing and making it so much fun.
You're welcome.
Well, listen, guys, I got a few more things I want to do before we get off of here. It looks like that is about all we have as far as the folks that have come on the show. I definitely wanted to make sure that I pointed out to you guys, Mr. Sam Whitley has shared some of his photos that he took at the game, and I wanted to get those in here and show them to you guys. So let me do that before I forget. So the gentleman with the number 16 jersey on, that's Sam Whitley. He is a student at a local high school here in Macon. And he sent me these photos. He told me he was going to try to get on the show if he was available, but I think he plays basketball for the school. And he said, I got practice and homework and all of that. And he said, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get on, but I do try to watch the show later on YouTube. But this was a cool photo he sent me from him and Roddy. My wife and my kids were extremely jealous of that photo. That's their favorite player. But he got some really cool photos, guys, and I wanted to make sure I showed them. This one was pretty awesome right here. Changed the name of one of the streets to Georgia Bulldogs Drive. After the game, that might not have been there after the game. Just throwing that out. It might have disappeared. And then, of course, being in Indy, this car they had decorated with the Georgia logo and painted in the Georgia red and black. Completely awesome. I sure hope Chase Elliott puts the Georgia G on his car, man. If you guys haven't seen that mock-up of the Georgia G on the 9 car, you should go in and pull that up and take a look at it. It is so sweet. It would be awesome to see him drive the Georgia G in the Daytona 500. And of course, this photo of the Lucas Oil Stadium. And I think that's all I got. So I want to jump in real quick and remind you guys, Robbie talked a little bit about it earlier, and I just wanted to go over the championship celebration. It begins at 12:30. The parade route is listed right here. Starts at the corner of Lumpkin Street and Pinecrest. We'll go all the way down Lumpkin Street to the Tate Student Center. And then, of course, the typical dog walk right there at the Tate Student Center parking lot, and we'll enter the stadium. The parade apparently is going to only be 30 minutes long. I can't believe they're going to only do a 30-minute parade, but It's not that far from Buttsmere, I guess, to the stadium. But with the amount of people, I find it hard to believe that it's only going to take 30 minutes. But I guess it might do that. And then, of course, we'll get into the celebration there. And I don't know what's going to transpire at the celebration. I haven't heard anything, but I did hear during the parade there's going to be 5 double-decker buses, open-air double-decker buses, and with the players in there. So there'll be, you'll be able to see all the players. You'll be able to see all the players from the road during the parade. And they're also going to live stream the parade on GeorgiaDawgs.com.
That was what I was going to ask you.
Yes, sir. They're gonna live stream it on GeorgiaDawgs.com, the SEC Network, and Facebook Live. So for Bill, for you, I know you're not going to be able to be there. You'll be able to participate and watch that. And for any of you guys out there that aren't able to go to Athens, that is going to be available. And I did hear somebody say this earlier, so I didn't come up with it, so I'm going to just repeat it. But if Stetson is not in a mail truck during this parade, somebody has totally missed the bus.
Yeah.
They have missed it if they don't have him in the mail truck. But guys, I just got a few final thoughts I wanted to share with you. This team will be forever immortalized in our memory. I know more about this team than I do any other team I've ever watched with Georgia. I think because when Kirby was hired as the coach, he got players that had good character. These were good guys that came from good families and good grades. And, I wanted to learn their story, and they shared their story. I followed their recruitment from the time that they came on with the team. And I don't know, it just means more because of that, I guess. And it's been a pleasure doing this. And I think, Matt, this all started, if y'all don't know this or not, I don't think we've told you this story, but me and Matt started this page and this show as a joke. We love talking Georgia football. And I just joked to him one day. I said, we talk so much Georgia football, we should do our own podcast. And he says, you know what? Let's do it. And so we actually started this podcast holding our phones up, just as redneck as it can be. But we were holding our phones up, talking to one another. And then it transitioned into using this platform. And it has just become something special. And I will relish this season and this time with you guys for as long as I live.
We treasure it too, buddy.
Love you, man.
Well, guys, one more time. Let's do this thing. Let's send it off right. Let me get this music playing here because we got to send it out right. Close this thing out right.
Come on, Akaki, unmute that thing because your voice.
Let me hear you, buddy. Let me hear you.
Go Dogs!
Yes, sir.
Go Dogs!
Go
National
Dogs!
champions, guys. It don't get no better than the national champions 2021 Georgia Bulldogs, red and black, took it to the house, dropped the hammer, rolled the tide, got over the hump, slayed the dragon, and won this daggone thing. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
How about them dogs?
See you in Atlanta. We got Oregon up next.
That's right, buddy. That's right.
Guess who's the coach? Mr. Lanning.